Do you ever drive out of a pit lane and on your first lap you find a curb that makes you feel like the whole sim rig is gonna rattle itself into tiny bits? There is not a clear solution to that problem, because of course you can turn down the force feedback strength, but well, you want some force feedback, right? You don't want to decrease overall FFB just to fix one curb. Then you have FFB smoothing. It's different in different sims, right? But usually the problem with smoothing is that it just smooths the whole FFB range. So it could or it will induce a bit of a delay, and that's not great to have when you're dealing with FFB, which you want to have it like as crisp or as direct as possible. I always keep this on 0. So there is actually one possible solution. So if you have a decently sophisticated steering wheel profiler, which is indeed the case for Simicube and Assetec, and potentially for some other direct drive wheels, I'm not really sure, there is one extra solution to the one curb rattling problem. So in TrueDrive, we can check that. So we go to edit the settings, and then we find this picking and notch filter. So basically how this works is that if there is a curb, it's usually around one frequency, let's say, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 hertz, that the big rattle happens. So the idea is to put that frequency in here, into the center frequency, and then choose your attenuation. So it's going to decrease just the frequency in that curb range, and it's going to leave alone all the other corners. And how to find the center frequency? Well, we can find it in Motec. All you need from a sim is that it exports telemetry of force feedback. So this is now for iRacing. I can find here, it's called steering wheel torque. And yeah, maybe iRacing is not the best way to show it, because, well, in iRacing, 3D curbs have not been here for a long time, so it's not really an actual problem in iRacing, but I just wanted to show you that there is a channel and you can do it in iRacing. But for R-Factor 2 and Le Mans Ultimate, this solution is really good and I'm using it very often. So now I have loaded the log already of that first clip of this video, and let's start from empty space. Let's add time distance graph and add FFB output, and then yeah, you see that's that curve. It's absolutely rattling my whole room out of the block, and you see that it's even clipping the force feedback, like it's going to 100%, and that's not great. So what I do then is try to have a bit of space and then add FFT. This is a fast Fourier transform, which will, instead of time, show you frequencies. It's good maths. So let me add FFB output. I just remove this auto scale and log scale because I think it's easier to see. FFB max, I don't know, usually around 150 hertz is alright to see. Maybe adjust the scale a bit as well. Yeah, so there we go. You see one peak, and then you see another peak. But that second peak is just 2 times the frequency of the first one. It's data acquisition theory, or you're just targeting the first one, the highest one. And what you do then, sometimes you have couple of corners, couple of curves in succession, so you want to select part of track where this happens, but issue is that you cannot pull this stuff at the top into smaller piece of track because this FFT is blocking it. So let's just click track. Let's put it like that to zoom in, and then you kind of drag it across the track. And then we go back here, and you see we are driving, and suddenly we hit that big, where is it, curb here. So you see that these frequencies are popping up before as well to some extent, but then, yeah, there is a huge peak over this one. So this FFT is just the frequencies of what you are showing on the left side here, or like in this track, like this time slot that you have selected on the top. Anyway, now we have this big peak and we are trying to fix it. So let's open TrueDrive, and what we will do is input this center frequency. Let's say it's 55, or like if we select whole again, zoom in into exact problem so that you have exact peak of the actual problem on track, and then maybe resize, maybe just auto scale anyway. Right, so the peak is around 50. Like it's not probably important to be very precise. It's gonna vary from lap to lap anyway. So let's say it's 50. So we put 50 Hertz here. Sometimes I need to increase it and then manually I can put it in. Okay. Then attenuation, you will feel it. Like you can try it with 5 decibels first, then with 10, then with -15, then with -20. My experience is that between 10 and 15 is like a sweet spot, and then at 20 it's already filtering out everything from that curve. So it's, you still want to feel a bit of it. So yeah, like 12, 13 is fine. And then about the Q factor, this is a bit of a tricky one. I have actually emailed Simucube to answer me about it, and they couldn't because it's actually like secret, but they sent me some maths that explains it. The Q factor equals to F0 divided by F2 minus F1. And if we check what that is on the graph, F0 is the center frequency, so around 50 in that case. F2 is the upper limit of the peak, so around 60, and F1 is the lower limit, so around 40. So if we put that in, we get, well, 50 divided by 60 minus 40, and that, well, obviously equals to 2.5. And what we do then in TrueDrive, we put this to, could it go to 2.5 even? Yeah, it can. Or just put like 2 or 3, it's not really that important. So to maybe explain it better, if you zoom in and move along, so on that curve we are breaking, right? So at the start, it's gonna start at like 57 Hertz, and then as we break, the peak will move left because we are rattling slower and slower across each like surface of the curb. So in the end, it has moved to even like 48 or even less, 45. But if we have selected the whole curb, then you have like the whole average of the curb. So if you're accelerating or braking on a curb, it can be wider or shallower. But yeah, you can just select a certain portion of the curb and then you find rough limits. I found that it's not really that important to be precise here, but just understand that if Q factor is bigger, then you will be filtering narrower portion of this. Because like if it's 50 and then limits are 52 and 48, then you have 50 divided by 4 and that's like more than 10 Q factor. So if you here go to 1, then suddenly you have like a very broad range where the stuff gets filtered. And then another disclaimer, I believe that this filter doesn't really show in Motec. I think that this filter happens like after the game exports the FFB output telemetry. So you know, now I'm comparing here 2 different logs, and actually the red one is with the filter, and ironically in this case I have maybe just hit the curb less hard or maybe slower, and therefore it just seems smaller than the white rattling of the main problem that we have been solving. But you will feel it. I think you feel it more than see any change in Motec. I hope that fixes some of your problems. There are some curves around Le Mans, like exit of Tertre Rouge or exit of Porsche curves, or what it's called, like karting corner, the last left, where it really rumbles the steering wheel. So let me know if this helped you, or if it didn't help you, or if some maths that I have here is wrong. But anyway, thanks for watching and see you on track.